Century Fox would like you to meet the Furbo family. Dave.
Once released from this prison, I, much like my reptilian brother, the pterodactyl, shall fly high above my problems.
Alvin.
Excuse me. The sign says take a pen, not take all the pens.
Bill.
Look at that abandoned car. It's my car. Oh.
Their ma.
Beautiful dreamer.
Edna, how would you like to ride your trunk in a car?
Edna, are we sleeping together? I think not.
One big temptation.
Forget it.
Forget what?
There's no money in the vault.
And what have we here? $275,000.
One brilliant plan.
All right! This is a robbery! Hey, who's got the key? Raise your hand! Oh.
Do you boys really want to do this?
Absolutely!
But on Christmas Eve, it doesn't seem right.
One huge mistake.
I just did what the map said. I made 4 lefts.
4 lefts? As I start going, you idiot!
Robbing the bank was easy.
Oh my God, are you okay? Well, I'm not dead, if that's what you mean. Why don't you come join my family and me for a wonderful Christmas dinner by the fire?
But surviving the nicest little town in the world,
Here we are.
that's the hard part.
Come on in. I just robbed these people. I don't want to get to know them, all right? If you don't give me that money, I'm going to throw your mother out the window.
All right, love you too.
Did you need any money?
No, we've taken more than our share already.
20th Century Fox presents the story of 3 brothers looking to get out of paradise.
Is there a bus or a train?
Any way they can. Nicolas Cage.
I'm getting this feeling that you are not telling me something.
John Lovitz.
Yeah, with this feeling you're getting, this paranoia.
Dana Carvey.
Come on, let's just go.
Trapped in paradise.
Don't aggravate the old witch.
I wish I was a witch. I'd shove my broomstick right up your
I mean, overall, this is a really, really stupid movie, and honestly, a lot of the best jokes are in this trailer, but, I don't know. To me, I kind of have a nostalgic feel for this movie. I saw this movie when I was about 15, 16 years old for the first time, and I thought it was alright, and I do admit that, yeah, it is a very ridiculous movie. The premise doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Everybody in this town is way too damn nice. It's a dumb movie, but you know what? Nicolas Cage, John Lovitz, Dana Carvey, they just have that good meshing of chemistry that works so well here. Like, you can actually buy into the fact that they could be brothers. They are trying their best with the material given to them. The comedy is very hit and miss. Like I said, the best moments are mostly in the trailer that you just saw, but I thought it was a cool, nice little film. It's a very stupid movie, but it's a nice little film. Well, it has that nice Christmas feel to it, like it's snowing all the time. It's hard not to appreciate that type of stuff. And yeah, I know it's a bad movie. I know it's not a very good movie whatsoever, but I personally thought it was just okay. I have a good time with this movie. It's one of those movies that I watched when I was younger, and it has some longevity to me. Let me rephrase that. It has longevity to me after all these years. Like, it still has a nostalgic feeling for me. And, it kind of still holds up for me a little bit. It's not a good movie whatsoever, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. I think it's an okay movie. With that said, let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Tommy Lee Jones starring as the legendary baseball player Ty Cobb in Cobb.
He was the first man elected to the Hall of Fame, considered by many to be the greatest ball player of all time. But beyond the myth and behind the legend was the most feared man in the history of baseball.
Mr. Cobb? Hello, Mr. Cobb. Come on in here. Meet the great Ty Cobb.
Lie after lie has been told about me. My entire life I've been misunderstood. You are the very fortunate young sports writer who has been chosen to tell the true story. Ty Cobb. Cobb, misunderstood in his genius, as genius always is. Gonna be the greatest biography of a great man ever written. Time to damn thing up.
That was not a clip. That was the entire movie. And, yeah, if I was the Cobb family, I would not be very happy with the portrayal of this person that we know, because this movie really does make it seem like that Ty Cobb was just the world's worst person whatsoever. And, maybe they were right. Maybe this was the whole thing. Even though I did read about the story about Al Stump. He apparently, when he wrote this biography about him, about Ty Cobb, he fictionalized a lot of the stuff in there. So there's a good chance that most of this movie is complete and utter bullshit, and they just thought that'd be a very more interesting story than the actual story of Ty Cobb, because, I mean, that's how you got to do it. And I don't know if there's anything about that. I think I remember at one point they were actually going to sue the filmmaker of this movie, Ron Shelton, because of this. But I don't know if that was ever true or not. I just heard that was a rumor at the time. But as far as the movie goes, it's okay. I mean, for Ron Shelton, this is the same guy that gave us such great movies as Bull Durham, White Man Can't Jump, and Blaze. We've looked at a couple of those movies. He's made a lot of great movies, but this was kind of the first one where I felt like it didn't work as much as he wanted it to. It felt like he was trying to push for that Academy Award, because it felt like this movie was trying to be the Oscar contender this year. Another winner for Tommy Lee Jones. He already won the Oscar the year before for The Fugitive. This was supposed to be the movie that should get him another Oscar, and it didn't really do it. Even though I don't think he's bad in the movie, I think he plays this role well enough. But just the idea of the movie alone, I think the movie feels like it's trying to go against everything that Ty Cobb was. I never knew much about this person. He was way past my time as a baseball player, but I don't think that everything that happens in this movie is what this guy really was. I mean, maybe it was in there at times, but this movie really, really hates this guy. It's one of those movies where you look at it and you try to think to yourself that maybe this is kind of the point. We get so many of these biopics that try to be so positive about the person involved. Like, they never hurt anybody. They only did what they had to do because they were sucked into it. And I felt that, and maybe they felt that this movie was trying to be the antithesis of that, but it really just comes off as them just saying straight out that Ty Cobb was an asshole. Like, there was nothing good about him whatsoever, and I don't know. Like, I really don't think that the right motivation for this movie was set. I mean, it could have been something interesting, but you're taking from a story that's supposedly mostly fictionalized, and you're not really telling the whole story. You're just trying to make a story up, so it works well for entertainment purposes and not for a legitimate movie purpose. You know what it kind of reminded me of? It kind of reminded me of the Babe Ruth story, the one from the 40s, the one that was made just before Babe Ruth died, and they tried to make Babe Ruth this happy-go-lucky guy. Like, everything he was doing, even if he broke the law, even if he was a jerk, it was all family-friendly and good fun for everyone, because he had to be the nice guy in the story. Like, this feels like the antithesis of that, and it feels like that same type of movie, except instead of him just being the hero of the story, he's just the biggest villain ever. And I mean, yeah, this is a really mixed up film. Like, I'll give Tommy Lee Jones credit. He does play this role very well. I thought the casting overall was very well done, and I thought for Ron Shelton, who had just done comedies most of his time, I'll give him credit for trying to do something a little more dramatic, but this was probably not the best movie to do it with. So, mixed bag review on that one, Cobb. So, let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Willem Dafoe and Miranda Richardson in Tom and Viv.
He was the most gifted poet of his time.
T.S. Eliot is the greatest living poet in the English language.
She was the greatest mystery of his life.
May I ask about the marriage? No.
Critics call Tom and Viv exquisitely passionate.
You don't have to worry anymore. I've got Tom.
Willem Dafoe is superb, and Miranda Richardson gives an Oscar-worthy performance.
Won't let them take me away from you, Tom.
Willem Dafoe, Miranda Richardson, Tom and Viv, rated PG-13.
I saw this one ages ago. I barely remember anything about it. All I remember is that had William Dafoe as T.S. Eliot, Miranda Richardson played his wife. Pretty much all I remember about it. I don't remember it being terrible, but it didn't really leave a big lasting impact on me, honestly. And judging by the reviews by it, I think everyone felt the same thing. So, yeah, pretty quick one on that one. Tom and Viv.
A ring around his neck?
This is a tie.
Daddy's getting a promotion.
Today was to be the biggest day
of Tom Sanders' career.
What happened? I didn't get it.
The new vice president will be Meredith Johnson. Meredith?
We don't know anything about this woman.
I do. I had a thing with her.
But now, his entire future
Do you have a problem working for me? Oh, Tom, what are you gonna do?
Grin and bear it like I usually do. And hope it doesn't get any worse.
is about to fall into the hands
I have a family now.
It's exactly why I can trust you. You have a lot more to lose than I do.
of a woman from his past.
Wait a second, Meredith. Wait a second.
Nobody has to know. Nobody gets hurt.
You can't just stop.
I'm not gonna do this.
You
No!
can't stop.
She said you sexually harassed her. She harassed me.
If that's who you finish what you started or you're dead. Do you hear me? You are dead.
We just have to hope he's smart enough to see he doesn't have any options.
I want to know whether I can sue her for sexual harassment.
It's a very dangerous game, Mr. Sanders. Are you willing to play it?
When push comes to shove, he doesn't have the guts.
Oh, don't tell me you're scared of me.
They're setting me up.
We pushed him too hard. He has nothing to lose.
Well, he hasn't told his wife yet.
How could you make that woman into a lie?
If they can come in here between me and my wife, take my job, take a family and a house that we have made.
This is a bomb we're sitting on that can blow everything sky high.
The thought of losing millions of dollars happens to get stuck right here.
Poor Sanders. You have no idea what you're up against. As usual.
We'll see.
So like I said, this is based off of a book by Michael Crichton, and actually it was a book that was made, they actually greenlit the movie before the novel was even published. It actually came out in January of 94, the film came out in December, so the movie was already being made before the book was even released, so take that for what you will, but, I mean, the idea is very interesting, especially nowadays. I mean, this is a story about a guy who is basically being sexually harassed by a woman, and it's usually the other way around, and in this case, the situation is Demi Moore seducing Michael Douglas, and to me, I think that's part of the problem with the movie, and it's why it doesn't really work all that well. It's because they have a good setup, they have a good idea to tell the story from a different angle, but the way it's the way it's presented that really does not work. I mean, yeah, Michael Douglas, who was in one of probably the most successful erotic thriller ever with Basic Instinct at the time. I mean, at the time it was, but I mean, you've got Demi Moore, one of the hottest actresses out there, and unfortunately, the setups in here really do not work whatsoever. I mean, she seduces him right as he gets there, and on the first night that she's there, she sexually harasses him, and one day is all it took, and you can make the argument that it's the former girlfriend, this is her way of getting revenge, but at the same time, man, your plan has to be a whole lot better than that, and that's really where the major flaws of the movie come into play here, because, I mean, the movie really, I think, is more focused on selling the sex appeal of both Michael Douglas and Demi Moore, because they were both because he was in Basic Instinct, and she's one of the hottest actresses at the time right now, right at that point. I mean, it never feels like anything that feels realistic, feels genuine. I mean, Roger Ebert, I think, said it best. The film's theme basically is a launch pad for sex scenes, and it feels like you're looking at a sharper image catalog that walks and talks. Those are Roger Ebert's words when he wrote the review for this on the Chicago Sun-Times, and he's absolutely right on it, because it never feels like anything in this movie is important to what the book is based on. Like, a whole idea, like, the idea is very interesting. Like, you don't ever usually hear stories about men who are getting sexually harassed by women. It's usually the other way around, and very once in a while you'll get a story like this, and here's a chance for the movie to actually kind of put that out in the open and say that, hey, this could happen the other way around, but it never really feels like that. It just feels like a TNA movie. It feels like a movie that's trying to be the next Basic Instinct, and I guess it kind of worked because it was one of the big successes of that year, and it was actually Barry Levinson's most successful film he had done after Good Morning Vietnam and Rain Man. He was on kind of a slump, but at least with the movies he made between those movies, those were better films. This movie's just really lackluster, and I think it's mostly because it doesn't go all the way with what they should be working with. It doesn't really tell a good story. It's not actually putting this main thing in focus. It's just basically trying to sell the sex appeal. and it just doesn't really work like that. And I'll be honest, I never read the book before, so I don't know if this is exactly how the book is being panned out, but one would think that the book was being more subtle with the ideas that they have in here instead of just throwing it out in the open like they do here. I mean, the movie lost me right away when Demi Moore starts harassing him on the first night she's there. It's just like, you did not waste any time with this whatsoever. You had no plan whatsoever, and just saw him and just like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck up your life, and it's just like, it just doesn't work. It's a film that had a lot of good intentions to it, but it just failed on so many levels. It's a really, really terrible movie. Disclosure, a really, really bad film. So with that said, let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Wesley Snipes starring in the action thriller Drop Zone.
What I'm offering you, no one else in the world can provide. No one else. $2 million a month for the operations and names of every undercover agent in the world. And I'm willing to prove it by doing it one time for free.
In a world of high-tech secrets, the survival of justice is at stake.
The whole system's going down.
And all that stands between anarchy and order is one man.
You got evidence. Make your case to the FBI. You're gonna have to do better than this time on Creef, fella. He's DEA.
On Creef is DEA?
We tested your free sample and decided we want more.
God bless America.
Mr. High-Jacking, put your hands down!
Go! Go!
It was a setup. A what? A setup. What are you saying, Nestor?
If you want my help, 15,000.
15,000?
What do you care anyway? It's the government's money.
The other U.S. Marshal has acquired some information.
I'm impressed. Not with you. The other Marshal.
A 747 at 500 knots could rip a jumper clear apart.
A C4 explosive, flashbang residue.
This is serious guacamole. It means I'm in the right place.
You are way out of your league, way out.
Paramount Pictures presents
These people are killers. You leave the cop stuff to me.
the year's most exciting thriller.
They're not gonna find who I'm looking for down here, right? So I gotta go up there.
Stage 1 is complete. Stay focused.
Okay, we're into the game.
Boy, John Badham really careened during the 1990s. I mean, he started the decade off pretty well with a couple of decent comedies, Burn on a Wire and The Hard Way, but after that, it was Point of No Return, another Stakeout, and this is his third bust in a row. This is not a very good movie. It's a movie that feels too much like Point Break, like it's trying to be another Point Break. We had a couple of these movies like this. We had Terminal Velocity in 94. I could have sworn we had one more, but I can't remember the other one, but this movie really doesn't feel like the whole effort was there. I think they just wanted to do the crazy action stunts and forget the story altogether, because the story is not really all that great. And considering that this is written by one of the guys who will later go on to write High School Musical, that should pretty much tell you everything you need to know about how bad this movie is. This feels like a film that they just put out because Wesley Snipes was one of the hot action actors at the time. Just give him a movie and he'll sell it, and that really doesn't work all the time. And you know, this movie really does not work as well as I think they wanted it to. I mean, Gary Busey plays a stock villain. The woman in this, Yancy Butler from who would later be seen on Witchblade, she's not really doing a whole lot here. You got Michael Jeter in here, Malcolm Jamal Warner is in here. I mean, it just doesn't work. It's a movie that really, like, sometimes the action sequences could be nice, but honestly, the rest of the movie itself is just so bland, it's so mediocre, that there's no real effort going into this that makes you want to see it. It's a movie that's really boring, really lackluster, and just a movie that I think Wesley Snipes should have known better on. Actually, come to think of it, 1994 probably wasn't a good year for Wesley Snipes, because he started the year off with Sugar Hill. I'm trying to remember what else he was in. Let me see. I'm looking on Wikipedia right now. So, no, that was it. Just Sugar Hill and Drop Zone. So, yeah, 1994 was not a very good year for him, and Drop Zone was an example of that. So, with that said, let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Federal Hill.
Hey, Pop, so I use this caddy tonight?
Oh, so you were going to ask me?
Of course I was.
These guys know everything about this town.
That's where I grew up.
I like it.
How to get the girls.
What'd you hear about me?
Good news travels fast.
how to get into trouble.
He's a funny boy. He wants to play games. We'll play with him.
And how to get away with murder.
What's up with the ninjas? I just got off work.
Nice stuff. Nice stuff.
This movie kind of reminded me of that movie Men of Respect with John Turturro that we looked at a couple years ago. It was a long, long time ago. It felt like that kind of a movie, and just like that movie, this movie does not look like it has anything that promising to it. I mean, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page right now. Do you want to see what the Wikipedia page looks like? Check this out. That's it. That's all the Wikipedia pages for this movie. It's just like, it's a 1994 American drama film. It has these people involved in it. I should probably tell you right off the bat that this movie really isn't going to be anything all that memorable. And judging by that trailer, I can definitely see why. I mean, there was nothing in there that really looked all that interesting, unfortunately. So, I haven't seen it. Can't really comment on it too much. But considering that that's all you can get on Wikipedia, that's probably not a good sign for this movie. So that's Federal Hill. Let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Century. Speaking of movies, we can barely find anything for them. I only found the movie itself on there, on YouTube, because I was trying to look for the trailer and it wasn't on there. Basically, the story is that Clive Owen stars as a 19th century Jewish doctor who, while studying at a research institute, discovers that an authoritarian doctor, played by Charles Dance, is sterilizing innocent women. Has Mark Strong in it, has Miranda Richardson, has Lena Headey in it, Fiona Walker. And that's really all I got for you, because I've never seen this movie. And again, kind of like with Federal Hill, if there's not really if there's not really a whole lot there on Wikipedia, then there probably isn't anything worthy about this movie in particular. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you on that one. So that is Century.
What are we gonna do? I got an idea. Go faster!
Dumb, a person lacking mental power.
What's her last name? I'll look it up.
Starts with an S. Swappy.
No. Swappy. Maybe it's on the briefcase. Look on the...
Oh, yeah! It's right here. Samsonite. I was way off.
Idiot, an adult mentally inferior to a child of 3.
Skis, huh?
That's right.
The years?
Uh-huh.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Cool.
Stupid, a person below normal intelligence.
Hey, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
If they each had half a brain, they'd still only have half a brain.
Oh, look, Frost. Hold on.
Jim Carrey.
Hold that plane! Sir, you can't go in there. It's okay. I'm a limo driver.
Jeff Daniels.
Oh, jeez, look at the butt on that. Yeah. He must work out.
Dumb and dumber. For these guys, every day is a no-brainer.
Remember when everybody thought that movies like this and shows like Beavis and Butthead were going to lead to the downfall of civilization? Well, 30 years later, these movies and shows have actually proven to show that they were actually a lot smarter than we gave them credit for. I mean, we talked about Beavis and Butthead numerous times, but Dumb and Dumber is another example of it. It's a movie that's not only very, very funny, very, very stupid, it's also kind of clever in a way that they handle this. Like, Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, they just work so well together as Lloyd and Harry, and like, you could just buy their chemistry. You can buy the fact that these guys are very stupid, but they also are well-meaning. They don't mean to harm anybody. They're just kind of idiots, but fun kind of idiots, like the kind of idiots you want to hang around with. And the movie does a very good job of making you want to believe in that. It's a very, very funny movie, and you know, it showed off what Peter Farrelly and Bobby Farrelly could do as filmmakers. I mean, these guys, the Farrelly brothers, went on to make some of the best comedies of the latter half of the decade, and this was the starting point of that. And for a first film, this is actually a pretty good start for them. I think the only thing they ever did before this was write one episode of Seinfeld, the opera episode from season 4, which is, of course, the best season of Seinfeld. And look at where they are. Look at what happened with this. This movie came out. It was a big hit at the time. Like I said, it was the third part of a really good year for Jim Carrey. I mean, coming off of In Living Color's End, and then all of a sudden he does Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, The Mask, and then this movie. It was a big year for him, and it launched his career. And for this movie, it actually showed that Jeff Daniels can be a very good comedic actor, even though he had been in comedies beforehand, but mostly was known for his more dramatic roles. But here, he fit the role so well, and it kind of revitalized his career, and actually got him some more comedies after this one. But some not so great. But I mean, really, I don't need to say anything more about Dumb and Dumber. It's a stupidly fun, but also very smart comedy with Carrey and Daniels just working off of each other so well. Just some of the funniest comedy ever. The gross out humor works here. The humor overall is very funny. The lines in here are so memorable. It's just a great, great film all around, and it's just a movie that has had such a great lasting legacy to it. We've had there was an animated series that actually came out a year after this, which features Patrick Starr and Max Headroom as Dumb and Dumber. There was the prequel, which has one of the dudes from NCIS Los Angeles in it. Was he in it? Actually, NCIS Los Angeles, which was not very good, but it still had some funny moments to it. And then we had Dumb and Dumber 2, which came out 20 years later, which I've kind of gone easy on it since it came out, but it's still a lackluster sequel compared to the other film, because with Dumb and Dumber 2, I think they played more than they could chew off. No, that's not what it's. Listen to me trying to make this. They bit off more than they could chew. That's what I wanted to say, because the people that they're trying to say are smart people in that movie are really, really stupid in that movie. With this movie, it kind of works. Like, these guys are the people that are supposed to be the intelligent people, the people that know what they're doing. They're not complete morons who can't figure out that, hey, this guy does not look like the same. Looks like this person that we don't have any pictures of, like in Dumb and Dumber 2, which that happens there. But I'm getting ahead of myself on that front. But we'll get to that one when we get to 2014. But like I said, nothing more I could say about the original Dumb and Dumber that hasn't been said already. It's a comedy classic. It's hard not to watch it whenever it's on TV. It's hard not to pop it in. It's just a film you can always go back to and just laugh your ass off with it. It's just a fantastic film. Just great movie all around. A great movie to end Carrey's great 1994. I love this movie, man. I think a lot of people love this movie too. Dumb and Dumber, you can't go wrong with that one. And so with that said, let's move on to the next movie, and that is Michael Keaton and Gina Davis starring in the romantic comedy Speechless.
It was an immediate attraction.
Hi.
He told her what he did.
You don't like this show?
It stinks.
I write for this show.
She told him what she did.
I write too. You a reporter? Yeah.
They thought they were made for each other.
We're rolling.
Oh, no, babe.
Soon.
Get it.
But they're about to discover they're being paid to defeat each other.
Meet Congressman Wanamaker speechwriter Julia Mann and Mr. Garvin's speechwriter Kevin Malick.
You lied to me. You lied first.
Is there much interaction between the two campaigns?
It's discouraged for campaigns to socialize.
Of course, a speechwriter could protect herself from being compromised by not flirting. You know, not sniffing around like cat in heat.
I do not. Not. The international symbol for no. I do not want you to come near me again. Hey, wait a minute.
So we still on for midnight?
It's a cutthroat campaign here. Don't do anything stupid.
I'm in.
For God's sake, don't mix with the enemy. Can we meet?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that we shouldn't not see each other anymore.
Why do you keep meeting me to tell me that you can't meet with me?
MGM Pictures presents a romance that was doomed from the beginning.
What?
And destined.
Can you help me out for a sec? Sec? Did I say sex? I meant sec.
To last forever.
Would you please find a station?
Wait a minute. I'm looking for a song. Our song, if you must know.
Isn't it romantic? Music in the night, a dream that can
Julia,
Isn't
every day I don't see you. It's painful to me.
moving shadows right?
Every day I can't press my lips against yours. I feel like I'm gonna die.
Michael Keaton.
You have nice feet.
Well, you know, I work out. Did you just snort?
Gina Davis.
You're acting kind of unfocused lately.
What? I'm focused. I'm what?
In every relationship,
America cannot be seduced.
there's a time to talk. And a time when words just get in the way.
America cannot be debauched.
Speechless.
Shall we speak the unspoken language of love?
You mean the kind only dogs can hear?
I really wanted to like this movie. I like Michael Keaton. I like Gina Davis. I like Bonnie Bedelia. I like Ernie Hudson. I like Christopher Reeve. I like Ron Underwood, who directed this, who did City Slickers. I like Rennie Harlan, who produced this movie. But my God, this movie is just so unfunny. I mean, this is a film that is basically sort of a parody of what happened in real life. There was a real-life romance of rival political candidates, James Carville, who was working for the Clinton administration, and then Mary Matlin, who was a speechwriter for President H.W. Bush. And, that could make for a funny comedy, but the level that this goes to, it's bad CBS comedy sitcom levels. Like, it's that bad. Like, you expect a laugh track to show up at some point here. And, an idea like this has the potential for great comedy, especially with these two very talented actors who can be very funny. I mean, Michael Keaton, before he was Batman, was in Mr. Mom, for God's sakes. And Gina Davis has been in a lot of great comedies, too. But, man, this is just so not funny. And just the chemistry is the biggest problem with this movie. Like, you could say that the comedy is bad, but at least the chemistry is very interesting. I mean, the romance is the subject of the movie. And even that doesn't work. It's just kind of like, what are you even doing? Like, what is the point of this movie if you're not even going to try to do anything about it? And it's just not funny whatsoever. It's a really, really lazy comedy that just doesn't do anything funny at all. It's not funny. The chemistry isn't working. Too many great people are involved in this. Such a disappointment. I was really, really shocked at how bad this movie was when I watched it for the first time a couple months ago. Man, this is a terrible, terrible film. Terrible, terrible movie. So, that's Speechless for you, but let's move on to the next movie, and that is Gary Oldman starring as Beethoven in Immortal Beloved.
Von Beethoven. He was touched by genius.
His music aroused such passion.
Tortured by silence.
He is stone deaf.
And driven by a secret love the world has never known. Gary Oldman, Immortal Beloved, rated R.
So, Immortal Beloved basically follows the life of composer Ludwig van Beethoven, played by Oldman, in flashbacks where it follows through Beethoven's secretary and first biographer, Anton Schindler, played by Jerome Krabbe. I always keep getting this name wrong. Jerome Krabbe, I think that's what it is. But his quest to ascertain the true identity of the Immortal Beloved, addressed in 3 letters found in Beethoven's private papers. And the film basically follows his journeys throughout the Austrian Empire, interviewing women who might be potential candidates, as well as those Beethoven's own tumultuous life. So I think this movie was trying to be kind of the new generation's Amadeus, or the 90s version of Amadeus, because I think Amadeus kind of has a similar plot to it. Bernard Rose, who directed this movie, his previous film was Candyman, which is a very good film. I remember seeing this one ages ago, mostly because of Gary Oldman as Beethoven had a lot of potential, and I honestly don't remember too much about it. I saw it once, maybe like, let's say maybe 10 years ago, but I really don't remember anything about it. I thought Gary Oldman as a whole did a good job as Beethoven, but everything else I just thought was just kind of like pretty substandard for a biography like this. And like I said, thought it was trying a little too hard to be the next Amadeus. Like Amadeus, I think, did this concept a whole lot better. But as far as this movie goes, it's been a long time since I've seen it, and when I saw it, I don't remember too much about it. So that's a Mortal Beloved. Now let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is Jodie Foster starring in Nell.
Protected by a place the world has never touched. Isolated by a language no one else can speak. Awaits a mystery called Nell.
Never encountered any of the images of the modern world? Never seen a car, a television, a gun, a Hershey bar?
For a man of medicine, she's a discovery he must protect.
It's like there's no one else in the world. She doesn't need anybody.
For a woman of science, she's a challenge to be studied.
She's been completely isolated. A blood test would pick up childhood disease.
You said she can talk.
Yeah, but it's some kind of language of her own.
She talks to me. I didn't ask for that. She did.
If she's ever going to leave that cabin, she's going to need skills she doesn't presently possess.
How do you know she wants to leave the cabin? You want to have her grow up in a lab?
One day soon, some hiker or fisherman is going to come walking out of those woods with a story about a wild woman.
Once word gets out, we might as well start selling tickets.
So what do, huh? Build a wall around the woods?
It's time to show her the big bad world and see how she handles it.
Scared?
They could never understand her world, but she helped them discover how to understand theirs. Two-time Academy Award winner, Jodie Foster. The star of Schindler's List, Liam Neeson. And Natasha Richardson in a Michael Apted film about the power of innocence and a mystery called Nell.
So yeah, this is another one of those Oscar bait movies, and this was kind of notable at the time because it was the first movie that Jodie Foster would produce, and actually the year after this she would direct her first feature film, which is Home for the Holidays, which I think is a much better film. But this movie, it's interesting. I think Jodie Foster is great in the movie. I think Liam Neeson and Natasha Richardson are very good in here. But yeah, everything else about this movie is just kind of... it's just kind of mediocre. It's like a typical Oscar baitish type film. I think the performances are okay in here. Directed by Michael Apted. We talked about a couple of his movies before this. Trying to remember right here. Blank we saw early in the year, which was a pretty decent film. Thunderheart, Class Action. We've talked about some of those movies. This one's just okay. I feel like this one's just okay. It's mostly working because of the performances. Everything else, it's your typical Oscar baitish type story. Let's have everything, all these cliches, and there's no way that the Academy Awards are not going to look at this performance and look at this movie and say we can't give you nominations for it. Which in a way it did. I mean, it got a nomination for Jodie Foster for Best Actress, but it's pretty much the only memorable thing about it. I mean, I really do not remember anything else about this movie that made it stand out on its own. It was just another Oscar baitish type film. It's a film that you got all the tropes in there, and the only thing that's keeping it going are these performances, and I think everybody in here is doing the best that they can, given the material that they have, and really, that's the only real thing you can say about it that actually does kind of work, is that the performances are carrying it through. It makes this movie kind of stand up for a little bit, and you actually want to check it out at some point, but it's not something you're going to watch over and over again, honestly. Like, it's something that I've only watched once, and it's just like, I'm glad I saw it. I have no real reason to watch it again, so... there you go. Now,
holiday season, Columbia Pictures invites you to share the hopes.
I want to do something different.
the joys.
I have the most wonderful feeling about tonight.
And the dreams.
My book. Who's publishing my book?
Of one of America's most beloved families.
Oh, I should have something.
Winona Ryder, Little Women. Rated PG. At theaters everywhere, Christmas Day.
Well, besides Winona Ryder, you also have Gabriel Byrne, Trini Alvarado from The Frighteners, Kirsten Dunst, Samantha Mathis, Claire Danes, Christian Bale, Eric Stoltz, John Neville, Susan Sarandon, Donald Logue is also in here. And interestingly enough, 25 years after this movie came out, there was another version of Little Women that came out, which a lot of people I would assume have seen recently, which features Greta Gerwig directing it, and also features a lot of names, also a lot of very familiar names in there. I actually looked here for a moment to see if there was any of them that were in the original film, but no. It's a completely different story, and I like that version of Little Women. I also like this one, too. I'm not really that big of a fan of the book itself, but I think the performances in this really do stand out and make it worth watching, even if you've never seen any version of this that came before it, even if you've never read the story about the story that this is based off of. But it's a very good adaptation. It's directed by Gillian Armstrong, written by Robin Secord, who, if you don't know who that name is, you've definitely seen her work before. She's written a lot of notable films such as Practical Magic. She wrote Matilda, the 90s version, Memoirs of a Geisha, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. That one I think is her best film overall, but this movie's a really good film. It's a really solid film, strongly benefiting from the performances here, especially Winona Ryder, who she really gave a lot of great performances in the early 90s. I don't think gave her a lot of credit back then. I mean, she was heavily praised as one of the top rising actresses at the time, but there was also kind of a point where, for a movie like this, I know the year before she did The Age of Innocence, which was the Martin Scorsese movie, and there was a lot of people who didn't like her performance in that, but I thought she was alright in that movie. But I think she really works here in this film as well. I think the cast overall works very well. I think it's a solidly made film. Not much more I can add to it, but great film overall. They've actually made a couple of pretty good adaptations of this story over the course of the nearly 30 years in between this movie and the 2019 one. So yeah, not much more I could add to that one. So that's Little Women. Let's move on to the next movie, which I have to remember now because I didn't actually write it down. Okay, now I remember. It's Disney's adaptation of The Lion King, the live-action jungle. I said the live-action Lion King, and I could pause and do that again, but let's just pretend I didn't say that. Let's talk about Disney's original adaptation, the live-action adaptation, I should say, of Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book.
He's vicious and uncivilized.
Then we'll make him civilized.
I will not lose you to some jungle boy.
I hunt animals, you know.
Maybe someday you hunt me.
You're not an animal, you're a man.
I am not a man!
From one of the greatest novels ever written comes a thrilling motion picture classic.
I will come back for you.
I know.
Walt Disney Pictures presents The
So again, kind of like with Little Women, this is actually the first of two live-action adaptations of The Jungle Book, which, of course, we got the 2016 one directed by Jon Favreau. And this is one that I don't think gets a whole lot of attention. This is actually kind of a decent film. Unfortunately, despite the fact that it has Rudyard Kipling's name all over it, kind of like with the Disney animated film, it has no real bearing to the original source material, just like the live-action version that came out in the 2010s does. But it works fine for what it is. I think it does a very good job of offering an entertaining, different take of a story that we know from the animated version. What's notable about this particular version is that this one does not feature the talking animals in here, and features mostly a cast that includes some notable names like Jason Scott Lee playing Mowgli. You have Carrie Elways in there, Lena Headey, pre-Game of Thrones, Sam Neill, John Cleese, Jason Fleming. Just some notable names all around here, and it is a very good version of the story. I think it's a well-made film. I know a lot of people wish that they could have done a little bit more of a faithful adaptation to the Rudyard Kipling book, but I mean, at least the 2016 version at least tried to do something like that. But I mean, give them credit for this. Like, I know a lot of people criticize the Disney live-action remakes, but this one's actually not half bad. It's actually a very solid film, and actually kind of predates the 101 Dalmatians remake that came out a couple years afterwards, which kind of has that same formula to it. And I mean, overall, I think it is a solidly made film. I think the action's very good. I think the scenes with the animals works very well. The comedy is a little bit hit and miss, but I mean, for what it is, it's a decent movie. I wish it... Oh, excuse me. I'm having a lot of trouble keeping it together today, but yeah, like I said, it would have been nice to see more of a faithful adaptation to the original book, but I guess, like I said, the 2016 version tries to do it a little bit better, but not by that much. But still, that movie, I think, is a far superior film with the technological achievements that they were able to work with there. But I think this version works fine for what it is. If you go into it with an open mind, I think you can actually really enjoy it. It's a good, fun family adventure film, and a pretty decent take on the story that we all know and love. So that's the original live-action Jungle Book. But let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is the romantic comedy IQ with Walter Matthau starring as Albert Einstein.
On Maui, they have these natural slides into what they call the 7 sacred pools. And the water is so aerated that it feels like an enormous tongue just licking your entire body.
Slides and great licking tongues? Have you gone mad?
It's because it's spring. Everything goes through upheaval in the spring, wouldn't you say?
Sounds like business.
They were from two completely different worlds.
That's your problem right there. You got no spark.
What?
You have no spark.
Pop, 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 pop. It was electric.
Wow, that was fast.
What about the car? Your stroke is too short and you're getting premature ignition. Does it ever feel that way?
And I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Only an Einstein could bring two such opposites together.
He's a troglodyte.
Fortunately,
Yes?
he was available.
You're Albert Einstein.
Thank you.
Jiving.
What makes you think that she would be better off with you?
On a lift?
On that? No.
Becoming briefly something you are not is the only way for Catherine to see you for what you really are.
What do I do if she asks me a question?
Then you say, interesting concept.
How do you expect to get away with this?
X equals W cubed
Over pi. This has got to be the dumbest thing anybody ever did to impress a dame.
Paramount Pictures presents
He's a mechanic.
Isaac Newton was an insurance salesman.
Meg Ryan,
You took Albert Einstein for a ride on a motorcycle?
Tim Robbins,
He loved it. He went, Wahoo!
Wahoo?
When was the last time you went Wahoo?
and Walter Matthau.
This is Professor Einstein, the smartest person in the world. Are they hanging?
It doesn't take a real genius to fall in love,
Oh!
but it helps.
I'm steering the boat.
IQ.
And really, I think the reason why this movie is such a charming film is because of Walter Matthau playing Albert Einstein. I like what he does in this movie. I think he's very good playing Einstein. I like that he's not playing the typical Walter Matthau role that we're used to seeing him in. He fits the role of Albert Einstein really, really well. And honestly, it's a shame that he didn't get any awards consideration for it, because I thought he did a pretty good job in this movie, playing the supporting role in here. And I think the whole movie overall is a charming little film. I like Tim Robbins and Meg Ryan in here. I like that Tim Robbins has to kind of get on her level to get together, and I like their chemistry that they have together. The movie overall is very funny. It's a charming, funny little comedy. I really think it could have done a whole lot more to really make it stand out on its own, but I think there's just enough there that's so unique and so different, and it's largely because of what Walter Matthau does as Albert Einstein, which I think really sells the film overall. Like, the performances by Robbins and Ryan are great, but it's Walter Matthau that really does sell this movie. It's kind of an underrated movie. I highly recommend checking it out. It's a movie that I think deserves a lot more attention. IQ, I highly recommend it. So, with that said, on to the next movie, and that is Macaulay Culkin in Richie Rich.
A kid from the best side of town.
Man, it must be cool to have everything.
He's about to make some new friends from the other side of the tracks.
Ooh.
Together, they share an incredible adventure.
Fire.
Yes! Macaulay Culkin.
Think I'm enjoying this?
Richie Rich, rated PG. Plus, Chuck Jones' new cartoon short, Chariots of Fur, rated G. Only with Richie Rich. Both start Wednesday, December 21st.
I stuck that commercial in there because, honestly, out of all those movies where Warner Brothers would stick a Looney Tunes short at the beginning of it, this is probably the one where I would say that both the movie and the cartoon are both very fun to watch, because usually when they stuck the animated shorts on these movies, the movies themselves were not really all that great. This is probably the only one that comes really close to me saying this is a complete package that just works so well, because that Chariots of Fur shirt, I just mispronunciated there. Chariots of Fur shirt, Chariots of Fur, toy boat, Chariots of Fur. Okay. Yeah, I'm keeping all this in here, but that Chariots of Fur, I'm doing it again. Chariots of Fur, god damn it. Chariots of Fur. Okay, now you're seeing some behind the scenes action here, but yeah, that Chariots of Fur short that they show at the beginning of this is actually really well done. Chuck Jones directed it, of course, and it's a classic style Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner cartoon, and it's very, very funny. It's very, very funny, nicely animated. It's a ton of fun all around, and pretty much you could say the same thing about the movie itself. I think this version of Richie Rich actually is very well done. I think maybe it's the mostly nostalgic factor for me because I saw this a lot when I was a kid, but I really enjoyed this movie. I like seeing Macaulay Culkin play this role. I think it fits very well for him. It's the only movie that he did during his peak when he was when he was growing up and he had the voice that sounded a little bit more adult to him. Because like I said before with the Pagemaster, if you listen to him in the Pagemaster and you listen to him in this, he sounds radically different. Like he sounds like an older kid in this movie compared to what he does in the Pagemaster. But also a note here, this is the last movie he did as a child actor before he eventually retired and then came back in the early 2000s with more adult roles, such as in the movie Saved, and also, what was that other movie he was in? Maybe I could find it here. Party Monster, there it is. Yeah, Party Monster, but that was like 9 years after this, and this was the last film that he was in as a kid actor. And I mean, I thought it was funny. I thought it was a nicely made film. It's very silly at times. It's very comedic, but it was kind of every kid's fantasy in this movie. Like, I mean, what kid in the 90s didn't want their own McDonald's in their own house? What kid didn't want their own theme park? What kid didn't want all the stuff that Richie Rich had in this movie? I mean, it's very fun. It's very funny stuff. It's very creative stuff. It's very creative and funny stuff. I'm just rambling on right now to fill out the time here, but yeah, like I said, it's a really solid film. I had a really good time watching it again. It took me back to my childhood, honestly. I used to watch this movie all the time. I used to rent it all the time from the video store. It's just a fun film all around. I enjoyed it a whole lot for nostalgic sake. It's a fun film. I really recommend it if you go into it with the right mindset. I think it's a very fun film, Richie Rich. So, you could probably say the same thing about the next movie that we have here, and that is Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia starring in the video game adaptation of Street Fighter.
international newswires are filled with stories of just world General M. Bison
made a mysterious rise from the bottom.
And intent on world domination.
Overthrow of the Democratic regime.
M. Bison.
In Chattanooga City just after dusk.
Fighting continues in this war-ravaged corner of the city.
Now civilians taking hostage.
AN forces are consolidating their hold of
Bison center ruthless. Highly trained General Bison appears certain to emerge victorious.
Bison seems to be unstoppable.
Is unbeatable.
I don't think so. Damn you,
Okay, so you could definitely see a lot of the problems with Street Fighter because Jean-Claude Van Damme is playing the American Colonel William Guile, and for obvious reasons that doesn't work. But and there's a lot of other notable flaws in this movie that really could make a lot of people very upset. But I will tell you this much: after seeing what they did 15 years later with the rise of Chun-Li and how bad that movie is, this movie looks like Citizen Kane compared to that movie. I mean, yes, it's not a very good movie, but I'll be goddamn if I'm not having the time of my life watching this movie. I mean, this is a very campy movie. This is a very over-the-top film. And I think it's because Raul Julia really puts his all into this as M. Bison. He plays this role so well. And there is something fun about watching Jean-Claude Van Damme playing Guile and all these other characters in here that are cast like this. It's not a good movie by any means necessary, but it's a fun, guilty pleasure film. I mean, like I said, this kicks the crap out of what they tried to do with Rise of Chun-Li. And honestly, you could try to do what they did recently with Mortal Kombat. Try to make this in a modern, not even a modern setting. Actually get people who know the video game who could make a series of movies based off of this. Like, kind of an idea I would think they would try to do is that you start off with a big movie like the Street Fighter, and then you make spin-off movies expanding on these characters more. Like you do a movie about Guile, you do one about M. Bison, you do one about Cammy White, you do one about Ryu, you do one about all these other characters, Dalsum, Balrog, Vega, like all these people in here. Like, I think that could be something that could be very interesting if you get the right people to do it. I think with one of these, I think this movie kind of just came close enough. It comes about as close to a video game adaptation as you can get at the time, but at the same time, it really doesn't follow the source material all that well. But like I said, at the same time, you kind of don't mind it because there are moments in here that are just so fun and over the top that you can't help but have a good time with it. It's a silly movie, it's a ridiculous film, but I love the hell out of it. It's a guilty pleasure film all around. Not the best adaptation of Street Fighter overall, but a fun action film nonetheless. It's a movie that I didn't like at first, but as the years have gone on, I've grown to appreciate it more and more, especially after watching Rise of Chun-Li. It certainly beats the crap out of that one. And until the day that comes when somebody actually comes in and makes a good Street Fighter movie, this is probably the best one we're going to get, so unfortunately. So there you go, that's Street Fighter. Now let's move on to that sixth movie that I added because I knew it came out this weekend, and I do want to delve into it because, unlike some of the other movies we looked at, it's pretty bad. So, here you go, Steve Martin in Mixed Nuts.
Hello, this is Lifesavers. Merry Christmas. How may I help you?
I have only 2 months to live.
I'm so sorry, sir. Everyone at Lifesavers is with you.
May I speak to a woman?
Hello, Merry Christmas, if it's all right to say that.
What's your name?
Catherine?
I want to ravish you like a wild animal.
Now, stop it right this minute. We can't have that sort of thing. Philip's job is solving other people's problems. May I put you on hold while I run to my desk? You're not calling from a bridge or holding a weapon?
No.
Good. But unfortunately, he's got problems of his own.
I don't know how to say this. My psychiatrist thinks we should break up.
I didn't know you were going to a psychiatrist.
Well, I'm not actually going to one. I've been dating one for 4 months.
And now it's Christmas. Can we show a little Christmas spirit around here?
Merry Christmas!
Somebody's not in a holiday mood, I guess.
A time when the lonely
If you think your husband is having an affair, he is.
feel most alone.
Static again. Hello, hello?
I can't hear you.
Try clicking the little button. I'm having a problem hearing you.
Look, I'm at the end of my rope, and I want to die.
Click it, please. Go ahead.
I'm very lonely tonight. Is there any chance I could stop by and talk?
Well, if you are willing to make a small donation, say perhaps $5,000.
I
I'm kidding.
I came right over. Do you have music?
I'm not like you, Philip. I'm not one of those people who's only good on the phone.
In my line of work, I deal with all kinds of people. None of them are what you might call conventional. Dancing with you makes me feel all fluffy.
Philip?
TriStar Pictures presents.
I wish there were someone I cared for who cared for me.
Are you a professional ukulele player?
Oh, no, I'm a writer.
What do you write?
T-shirts.
Steve Martin.
My heart is racing and I'm feeling all nervous and sick.
That's the way I felt since the day I met you.
I wrote Save the Dolphins.
In the new comedy from the director of Sleepless in Seattle.
Catherine was very distressed, so naturally I had to comfort her.
Mixed Nuts.
Hello, Lifesavers. May I help you?
May I speak to a woman?
You are speaking to a woman.
You know, it's funny Rob Reiner isn't here because, of course, Rob Reiner made one of the worst movies of 1994, maybe one of the worst movies ever made, North. And while this certainly doesn't head to North levels of badness, it's still a pretty bad movie. I mean, a terrific cast involved here. Steve Martin, Madeline Kahn, Robert Klein, Anthony LaPaglia, Juliette Lewis, Rob Reiner, Adam Sandler, Liev Schreiber, Gary Shandling, Rita Wilson, Jolie Fisher, just a ton of talented people in this movie, and a great director who was just coming off of Sleepless in Seattle and writing movies like A League of Their Own and When Harry Met Sally, and you're just watching this and you're going like, what happened here? Like, what made this movie not work as well as these other movies that these people have been behind? And I think, honestly, it's just that there's nothing really all that funny in there. I think they're trying too hard to just stick stuff at the wall and just try to get some good laughs out of this, and there's just nothing really there. It's just maybe the writing just wasn't as sharp as they wanted it to. Maybe there wasn't just such a good idea of what they wanted to do, but yeah, I really don't like this movie all that much, and I've had friends of mine tell me that I'm kind of crazy for saying that, especially with some of the stuff that Madeline Kahn does in this movie. Like, there's a whole chunk of this movie where she's stuck in an elevator and she's just screaming at the top of her lungs. And I love Madeline Kahn. I think she can be very funny, but you got to give her something more to do besides just sitting in an elevator for a good chunk of the movie and just screaming at the top of her lungs. Like, give her something funny to do. I mean, it's not a complete loss because I will admit there are parts that do kind of make me laugh. Like, I didn't know for the longest time that Liev Schreiber was playing the woman who the drag woman who was dancing with Steve Martin in here. Like, I thought that was I always thought that was Steve Martin in a dual role, but no, that was Liev Schreiber. And you know what? He actually was kind of funny. Like, he actually does have a lot of funny moments in this. Like, I felt he was one of the stronger aspects of the movie, and I thought the movie needed much more than that. I mean, they got a great cast involved in this, but there's just nothing there that makes me think that there was something that they really wanted to say about this movie. Like, what was the overall plan for this movie when it was all said and done? And I just never really got it. I mean, I just think this movie was just all over the place. They just threw stuff at the wall. They got all these people involved and just said, hey, you know what? Make something funny out of it. And sadly, I don't think anything funny came out of it, really, except for a couple of good performances, especially from Liev Schreiber. But other than that, though, this is a terrible, terrible movie. I mean, it's a really bad film. It's not the complete disaster that North was, but it comes pretty close. I gotta say that. But some people have told me I'm crazy for thinking that, but you know what? That's the great thing about the internet and the great thing about doing stuff like this, because everybody can have their own opinions on stuff. Some people think this movie's good. People like me, I don't like it. But yeah, that's the great thing about the internet. Sometimes just get your opinions out there and then watch the insanity happen. I mean, that's pretty much what the internet's kind of about, honestly. And just like, now I'm just kind of rambling on here, but that's pretty much what this episode has been like so far. So okay, that bottom line, Mixed Nuts, not a very good film. Massive disappointment from somebody that made a great film like Sleepless in Seattle.
Oh, another 5-minute wait. The old man tried to sneak by.
Hold it! What was that, buddy?
The old man turned on his innocent voice.
I'm sorry, officer.
Did I hear you calling me a son of a bitch?
I beg your pardon, sir?
He suddenly became hard of hearing, too. Did you call me a son of a bitch?
Oh, heavens no. Mercy me, officer. Good gracious, no.
You just watch your lip, buddy.
Oh, bless my buttons, sir. I certainly will. That is excellent advice, officer. I certainly appreciate that. Heavens to Betsy, I certainly will. Thank you very much, officer.
The old man was certainly sincere.
Son of a bitch!
Charles Grodin may be one of the best things about this movie. I mean, he plays the old man so well in this movie. Actually, when you really think about it, everybody who's played the old man in A Christmas Story really is either one of the best things about the movie or the best thing about a movie, because, of course, Darren McGavin cemented it perfectly. Charles Grodin here does a great job with his version. I really like Daniel Stern's version from A Christmas Story, too. It was one of the few things I really liked from that terrible, terrible movie. And I like Christy Amanatopoulos in A Christmas Story live. I mean, I love that guy anyway. I mean, anybody who can do the old man, Mo from the Three Stooges, and Mickey Mouse, and do all those roles so well, he's one of my favorite underrated actors. But with that said, let's talk about this movie in particular, because this is the sequel to A Christmas Story. There were a lot of things about this movie that didn't go quite well with this movie. I mean, the first thing you could say is that the title really didn't sell the film. I don't know how you managed to screw up marketing a sequel to A Christmas Story just on the title. A Summer Story would have made a lot more sense. My Summer Story kind of makes sense, except the first word, but then again, why call it A Christmas Story My Christmas Story? So why retitle it to My Summer Story, and then It Runs in the Family sounds kind of like a pretty generic title, especially since MGM pretty much used that for another movie with Michael Douglas and his family, which we'll eventually get to that one when we get to 2003, and yeah, but that's one of the problems here. Another problem, the release date. They kind of dumped this out there in September of 1994. They didn't even wait until the summertime, and they just dumped it out there. Didn't put any advertising behind it. Like, they were really embarrassed by it. They put out Getting Even with Dad, which got far worse reviews than this movie did, and got panned more by critics at the box office. And they were perfectly fine with putting that out, but not this. Maybe you could make the argument that they thought The Lion King was going to be the big competitor that summer, but even then, there were still a whole bunch of family films that came out when The Lion King came out, and I think MGM just tried to bury it. And really the biggest problem with the movie is that it pales in comparison to the first movie. It doesn't have the same laughs or the same memorable moments as the original film does, and it's one of the things that kind of digs it in the worst way. But then again, considering what has come after this, A Christmas Story 2 and the Christmas Story musical on Fox, it's certainly not the worst thing ever. And hell, even A Christmas Story Christmas, what we got just recently, may be the best sequel that they've done to the original Christmas Story. And that says a lot, considering they've done almost five different versions of the story. But that's kind of the negatives. Let's talk about the positives of this movie. I think the movie actually ends up being a little bit better than people give it credit for. And I honestly kind of had a good time watching it. I like that the cast is not just doing a straight-up copy and paste of the previous film. Like I said, Charles Grodin, I think, is great as the old man. He gives his own personal touch to it. He's very funny, especially that scene I just showed you. Mary Steenburgen is very good as Mrs. Parker. Kieran Culkin, Macaulay's brother, is great as Ralphie. His brother Christian does a good Randy without just rehashing the film's previous version of him. And also what helps is that they do have Gene Shepard back as the narration. I think it definitely helps to carry the movie along. There are some decent laughs in here. I do like they try to expand the story of the neighbors of the Parkers, the Bumpuses. They got a more prominent role here. It definitely fits the mold of kind of what you expect from them. It's definitely not a Christmas Story, but it has just enough to make a pleasantly enjoyable film. I mean, if you're looking for a good follow-up to A Christmas Story that's not just a straight-up bad cash grab, I think this works perfectly fine. But then again, so does the other movies like I said recently, A Christmas Story Christmas was actually pretty good. And I even kind of I really like 8-Bit Christmas, which is not a straight-up sequel to A Christmas Story, but is more of a spiritual sequel to that movie, mixed in with a little bit of Jingle All the Way. I think that one perfectly fits well as an 80s version of A Christmas Story, but My Summer Story is really not all that bad. So, look at me, I'm saying I'm going to run through these long, and this is already 4 minutes long, so that first review is. So, let's move on to the next movie, and this is one of the notable stinkers of 1994 that I'm shocked was not on this list. The Next Karate Kid, starring Hilary Swank.
Give me a few lessons.
Focus. Karate. Yeah. girl no one believed in, put her away, is about to prove she's the next Karate Kid. Yes! Rated PG.
I apologize to Karate Kid Part 3. I gave you way too much flack. You were certainly a whole lot better than this movie was, because where do you even begin? Let me try to run through this as quickly as I can. I mean, I'll give Pat Morita credit. He is committed to these movies, and I really don't think he should be heavily involved in this, but I'll give him credit, though. He stuck around till the very end. But Hilary Swank, you know, I don't think she's bad in the movie, but they're just giving her horrible writing to work with. I mean, the script for this is just terrible. I mean, you have a task to revive this franchise with this new character, and he just said, "Okay, I'm just going to take the script from the first movie, dumb it down, write some of the worst dialogue ever in a movie, and make the main character say one of the most stupidest lines of explaining a situation." What am I trying to say here? Writing a exposition, that's what I'm thinking of. The worst exposition ever. I mean, there's a scene in the beginning of the movie where she's being yelled at by her grandmother, and then Julie goes, she just keeps going, and she goes in this backstory in one long sentence. "My name is Julie, my mother's name is Susan, she was killed in a car accident with my father, and they're both dead." Like, how dumb do you have to be to do you have to dumb this down so you can be like, this is basically like telling the audience, my name isn't Bruce Wayne, it's Batman. Bruce Wayne's parents were killed in the back of a theater, and now they're dead. It's just kind of similar like that. And just like, I almost expected her to go to the audience and say, "Everybody are you guys all set? Okay." I mean, it's just a bad line. It's just like, fuck having a whole scene explaining her backstory. Here it is in one sentence because I'm too lazy to take my job seriously. What's happening on Cheers right now, by the way? I mean, the dialogue is bad. The villains in this movie are terrible. I mean, my God. If you thought the villains from the last movie were cartoonishly over the top, these guys are essentially Judge Doom at the end of Who Framed Roger Rabbit over the top. I mean, the main bad guy is nothing but a gigantic deuce, and you just hate him right from the beginning. He's also kind of an abusive dick, too. Like, I don't know what was going on with these movies in the 90s that had this type of thing. It's just kind of like, what happened in Beethoven's Second. I mean, you have the teenage daughter who's almost kind of being close to date rape until Beethoven saves the day by knocking the house over. Like, I don't understand what was going on during that time period. I mean, it's bad enough that you're having it. It's that his first scene is literally in "you're standing too close to be stalker" phase, and we barely even know the guy, so you can't take him seriously as a serious threat. I mean, even Michael Ironside, who can play these roles very well, can't make this work, and the fighting is just bad. The comedy is lackluster. It date stamps itself right away, because there's a line where Julie's love interest goes, "Does Michael Jordan only play basketball?" Because, you know, it's 1994. I mean, Jordan just started his baseball career, and certainly was going to last a very long time, and it only lasted 1 year. You date stamped yourself before the year was even over. Like, how do you do that? It just doesn't work. It's just like, it's a lackluster and pathetic excuse to try to resurrect the dying franchise by not even trying to do anything with it. It's kind of like the Pink Panther. I mean, they don't do anything really new or creative with it. They just said, let's just rehash what they did in the first movie with a new guy, and surely it's going to work. And it failed 3 times. 3 times that series has been revived, and they haven't been able to come near close to what Peter Sellers did with that series. That's this movie. This movie is just, it's just a bad movie, and thank God they got it right in the end, because in 2010, of course, we got the new Karate Kid with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan, which was actually a really good movie. And, you know, honestly, I'm kind of glad it was just one movie. Just make it one film. I feel like they kind of would have exploited it by this point by doing more than one movie. I am kind of glad they haven't done a sequel to that yet, so. And at least we got Cobra Kai out of it, too, and that's been a great show as well. But, yeah, they're certainly a lot better than this schlockfest is trying to be in. Here we go, another 4 minutes on these reviews. I'm trying to speed this along, but damn it. But, anyway, let's see if we can try to speed this along with the next movie, and that is Don Bluth's A Troll in Central Park, and I'm just going to tell you right now, we're not even going to do that either.
Spectacular journey in a brand new movie for sale on video. A Troll in Central Park.
It's wonderful.
Meet Stanley, a magical troll with a green thumb. An evil queen is after him, and 2 new friends are helping him.
Hey,
Together, they'll learn that when you believe in yourself, you can do anything. And now you can share Stanley's adventures with your friends.
I like that a lot.
A Troll in Central Park, for sale on video, rated G.
Well, I picked some real stinkers that were surprisingly not on this list that I probably should have just left on there, but this is the worst Don Bluth movie. Plain and simple, this is the worst movie he's ever made as a filmmaker. I mean, a lot of the stuff that makes him great, his animation is in here, but it just feels like it's just watered down mesh. I mean, at least Thumbelina was trying to do something, even if it was a Disney knockoff, but this is just garbage. I mean, this is just depressing to watch Don Bluth stoop himself to such a depressing low like this. This is just garbage. I mean, yeah, it's got nice animation, and I like the song by Dom DeLuise, the Absolutely Green song. It's actually pretty catchy, and actually kind of has a nice meaning to it. But the movie just feels so un-Bluth-like. Like, what do you think of when you think of Don Bluth? You don't think of a movie where he didn't talk down to kids as much. He wasn't afraid to be a little more violent. He wasn't afraid to show the more scarier moments, because in the end, it was going to be the happy ending regardless. Like, you don't expect a movie this happy and peppy and positive all around. Like, nothing bad can go wrong. I mean, it's the equivalent of watching the happy little elves from The Simpsons. I mean, the Nostalgia Critic made that joke in his review, and it's true. It's very much true in that way, shape, or form. You do not like any of these characters whatsoever. The movie pads out the runtime by doing nothing but filler. It's like when Family Guy overuses a Conway Twitty musical number, and they do it over and over and over again. It's like, you're not doing it to make us laugh. You're doing it to kill time. Do something. Give us a reason why I should care about what's going on in this world. And it's just, there's nothing there. It's just so pandering, it's so needless, and really doesn't feel like something that comes from the same man that gave us An American Tail. It doesn't feel like it came from the same people that gave us Secret of Nim or The Land Before Time. It's just a bad movie all around. It's easily the worst thing Don Bluth made as a filmmaker. And, what more can I say? It's an absolute mess. See, I only took 2 minutes on that one. I'm getting better, so. Oh, anyway, let's move on to the last movie I have on this list, and that is The Madness of King George.
Winner of 4 Academy Award nominations. Good, Leslie. Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Screenplay.
Well, it's not bad for a madman.
The Madness of King George. This film is not rated. Now playing at...
So this is based off of the Broadway, not even Broadway, this is based off of a play of the same name, The Madness of George III, which is written by the same screenwriter, Alan Bennett. And, I mean, this is a pretty good movie. It's a good showcase mostly for the actors involved in this. Nigel Hawthorne is a very good actor. You've seen him in such films as Madeline, a couple of other movies of notable worthiness. Helen Mirren's also in here. I mean, anything she touches usually turns into a pretty solid film overall. Ian Holm, Amanda Donahue, Rupert Graves, Rupert Everett. A pretty phenomenal cast in this movie, and it's a funny film. It's a film that's both very funny, very dramatic, and the performances overall work very well. It's an overall enjoyable film. I really don't think I need to say anything more about this one because it's a solidly made film. It's a nicely done period piece film. Even if you're not a big period piece type of person, you can still find a lot in here to really get invested in too. It's a pretty good film overall. I highly recommend it, The Madness of King George. So, with that said, let's finally get on to some of these other movies that came out on Christmas weekend, and we'll start off with the first movie here, Robert Altman's Ready to Wear, a.k.a. Pret-a-Porter.
Sex, greed, the original murder. What's his name? A dead guy. Some things never go out of style. In the year's most seductive comedy, Ready to Wear. Rated R. Starts Christmas Day.
Another great director in 1994, making the worst movie of his career. I mean, what do we have? Rob Reiner. Last week we had Nora Ephron, and now Robert Altman. I mean, him coming off of 2 really great films beforehand, The Player and Shortcuts. And now you have this movie here. It's a movie that's supposedly a satirical comedy set around Paris Fashion Week, and you have all these different celebrities involved in here. The cast in this is a massive cast. I mean, you've got Marcello Mastroianni, you've got Sophia Loren, Rupert Everett, Julia Roberts, Tim Robbins, Kim Basinger, Stephen Ray, Forrest Whitaker, Richard E. Grant, Lauren Bacall, Lyle Lovett, Lily Taylor, Sally Kellerman, Tracy Ullman, Linda Hunt, Terry Garr, Danny Aiello. Just a huge cast overall, and that's not including the many cameos from different models at the time. And you have people like Cher and also Harry Belafonte making cameos. Naomi Campbell and Claudia Schiffer are also in this movie. Just a ton of cameos in this movie. and really, for the most part here, they play it too safe. And for Robert Altman, you expect much better from him as a filmmaker. I mean, I feel like this is a movie that they basically made because somebody at the Paris Fashion Week is just like, you know what, we want to make a movie about what goes on behind the scenes, but we don't want to show everything that goes on behind the scenes. We want you to play it as safe as possible, and this is the movie that we kind of get. And, you know, this is you expect a whole lot more from the same guy that did great films like MASH and The Player and Shortcuts and just these other movies, but it just plays way too safe. It feels like most of the time it feels like bad sketches on Saturday Night Live at times. It's just not an enjoyable film, and there's just way too many stars involved in this movie to make this movie work as a whole. It's just it's a real lackluster film, and I couldn't believe that, considering the director, Robert Altman, has made so many great movies, and this is one of those movies where you think he should be better than this, and it's just not there. It's just not a good film at all. It's a really lackluster film, a really terrible film overall, honestly. So, with that said, on to the next movie, and that is Safe Passage.
1 minute, I'm hot for Patrick, and then the next minute, I'm the mother of 7 sons.
Safe Passage is one of the year's very best films.
He was in the building that was bombed.
Assume the absolute worst. It's really best for everyone.
If Susan Sarandon doesn't win the Oscar, it would be a sin. The performance of a lifetime. Sarandon is excellent, says the LA Times. Safe Passage, rated PG-13. Now playing in Los Angeles nationwide January 6th.
Yeah, spoiler alert, Susan Sarandon didn't win the Oscar this year for this movie, but you're 1 year off, actually, by the way. We'll get to that when we get to Dead Man Walking, but as far as Safe Passage goes, it's kind of similar to Ready to Wear. It feels like something you'd see on TV. It feels like an extended episode of something like Party of Five or Melrose Place in a way. It just doesn't feel like a movie that's warranted of a theatrical release, despite the fact that they have this talented group on board. Susan Sarandon, Sam Shepard, Marcia Gay Harden, Sean Astin, Nick Stahl, Jason London. Just a phenomenal cast overall, and it's just like, you expect a whole lot more with them on board, but again, it just kind of feels like something I just kept waiting to hear the announcer talking about on the next episode of Party of Five or Melrose Place or one of those 90s shows from Fox back then, which those shows would work better than this movie. But I mean, it's not a total waste, but you expect a lot more with the people on board on it. So that's Safe Passage. Let's move on to the next movie, and that is Legends of the Fall.
From the moment she entered their world, their lives would never be the same. Did you seduce her just to spite me?
You've been nothing but trouble since you came to this house.
And I damn everybody around me as well as myself.
Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, Aidan Quinn, Julia Ormond. Legends of the Fall, rated R. At theaters now.
I mean, it's an alright film. I think mostly because of Brad Pitt, who really gives one of the film's strongest performances. This was another one of those films where everybody looked at it and realized that, you know, Brad Pitt's actually a much better actor than I think we gave him credit for. And sure enough, this is another great film that everyone was looking at and going like, yeah, this guy's actually a superstar in the making, and he's working off with these heavyweights. You know, Anthony Hopkins, Aidan Quinn, Julia Ormond, Henry Thomas. Just a phenomenal cast overall here. I wish the movie didn't feel like more of an Oscar baitish type of film. I feel like they were trying a little bit too hard to actually try to make this the Oscar contender for the year. It's another one of those Oscar baitish type films. And from Edward Zwick, who made a great film with Glory, but then followed it up with the lackluster Leaving Normal, I felt this was kind of on that same level. It's just a movie that doesn't feel like it's trying its hardest to actually tell a legitimate story. It just feels like it's something that they're just trying to make so they can get the Oscar crowd involved in here, and it just didn't work overall. It's a film that works mostly because of the casting, but even then, it's barely crossing the levels of working as a decent film. Other than that, though, it's a mostly forgettable film. I would say that only watch it to see a really good performance by Brad Pitt. Other than that, though, you could probably skip it and you wouldn't be missing out on anything important. But with that said, on to the last movie, and that is Paul Newman in Nobody's Fool.
This presents Paul Newman.
How about you and me go out there and get ourselves naked and then just see what happens?
Okay.
60 years old, still getting crushes on other men's wives. I would hope by the time I'm your age, I'm a little smarter than that.
Can't hurt to hope. Sure off to a slow start.
In a movie you can count on
I could legally shoot you and get away with it.
to surprise you at every turn.
Not unless I'm breaking and entering.
Are you gonna break and enter?
Does it ever bother you that you haven't done more with the life God gave you?
Not often. Now and then.
Nobody's fool.
I mean, this is a very simplistic film. It's just Paul Newman working off all these big actors involved is playing these different characters. I mean, you have Jessica Tandy in her last film role before her death. Bruce Willis is also in here. Melanie Griffith, Dylan Walsh, Philip Bosco, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Margot Martindale, Catherine Dent. And there's really nothing more. There's really nothing more about it. It's just Paul Newman doing what Paul Newman does best, and he honestly gives the film its life. He has one of the strongest performances of his late career, and this is a really solid film, largely because of what Newman brings to this character that he's playing. It's just Paul Newman being what Paul Newman will be all expect from Paul Newman. He's one of the great actors for a good reason, and this is one of those examples of it. He can make a very simplistic script like this work as well as it does. Like, I really went into this thinking that it's going to be one of those movies where it's just like, okay, he's probably the best thing about the movie while everyone else is trying a little too hard. And really, this is a legitimately good script. It's a film that works with this actor, and he's able to just make everything that he gives in this movie work. It's a film where he doesn't really have to have a huge acting range in this. He just makes it work because this is what you expect from Newman. I mean, he's a great actor for a good reason. He has great chemistry with a lot of the people that he works with, and this is a prime example of it. And it's a very thought-provoking film. It's a very well-made film. Great performances all around. It's a showcase for the proof that Paul Newman still has what it takes. I mean, he's a very good actor. This is a very solid film. There's nothing too big, nothing too extravagant about it. It's a small little film, and it works very, very well. I could definitely see why he got a lot of praise for this performance. And like I said, it was one of his last major critical successes before his death in 2008, because he did take some movies that weren't as good, stuff like Twilight in 98, Message in a Bottle wasn't very good. Very few little films he did actually turned out pretty well after this point, but yeah, it's an overall enjoyable film. I really like it a lot. I like it's a smaller film. Nothing too crazy happens in it. It's just a simple story about this guy and his adventures he goes through in life. So I really recommend it. Nobody's Fool.